least want those 25 or 30 supers for Lower Norfair if you go down there early.
Yeah, it looks like we're getting started here. I'm sure Feasel will sync this up shortly. But I mean, to your point, Typo, it's kind of like, in some ways, I find Charge a more fascinating item than Varia, because Varia, of all the items in the game, is pretty much the closest thing we have to 100% mandatory, outside of like Morphing Ball, obviously, that you get at the beginning. But, we've talked a lot about how going suitless Lower Norfair RBO style is just not something you ever really want to attempt to do in a randomizer. And so we know the players are going to find Varia somehow or another, but Charge is a whole different thing where it's like you don't have to have it, but it's incredibly powerful.
Yeah, and of course it can be a huge time loss, as you noted before, if you weren't picking up those miners to begin with and suddenly you have to start gathering them.
Exactly. That's the worst. If you don't collect along the way and then you realize you're not going to find it, then it's the mad rush to find things that are not necessarily right in your way.
So we have an E-Tank here to start out with. We already know about Morph Balls in the ceiling, so the first two items have been determined. We'll see if they get any power bombs soon.
Yeah, CFB almost did what I do every time. If the first item isn't Morphing Ball, I usually will forget and try to like morph under that little block.
Yeah, I do that all the time too.
Yeah, I can't do it though. All right, very nice Stray. And CFB both grabbing the Morphing Ball in the ceiling first try. Excellent job.
And there are the power bombs that they so badly want. CFB has a habit of actually not taking the elevator up, but going to the left when they come out of this room over here. So we should see a bit of a route divergence between these two players.
All right, luckily neither one of them accidentally forgot. It doesn't happen too often, but occasionally when the Morphing Ball is in the ceiling, I've done this and I've seen other players do it. They'll accidentally run by this item spot here where they just picked up, like basically the alpha missiles of the game. Because a lot of times runners are so accustomed to doing any percent or something like that. I guess any category where they run down there first. So occasionally you'll see somebody run by there, but luckily both runners remember this time.
Yeah, indeed.
All right, so is he going to do it?
Yeah, he's going to do it for sure. And he picks up missiles as well. So he's got a missile pack, super pack, and powerbomb pack. And the advantage of having that extra E-Tank here is very nice because you don't have to worry about these hoppers so much. They do 80 damage without any kind of suit. So that's always a bit of a risky play to run through here.
True. Stray actually made an interesting call. Most players, when they have a power bomb pack near the beginning, will stop and grab the minor item below Mother Brain. He elected to keep on rolling. So not that that's, a good or a bad choice. It just kind of depends on what it was or what you think you might need. A lot of players will grab it just because it's right there and it's, a little more leeway early, but he's going for more speed.
Yeah, if he hadn't have gotten supers for the second item, I think he might have picked up or gone to check that. And it's just a reserve tank at BT, so not too good there so far.
And now an energy tank at Charge. The only, I guess what CFB is doing, what most people refer to as the meme route, right?
Yeah, I would suppose so.
I mean, I've actually used it before, and it's been helpful. It just depends on what you get. I mean, but the one bad thing about it is if you happen to find Speed Booster at an item location before you get back up to the ship, you usually have to backtrack to get to Waterway if you want to check that. But that normally doesn't happen, so it's not a super huge deal.
And Stray picking up a Grapple Beam there. CFB getting that trick first try and picking up another E-Tank. So he's already got a pretty good amount of E-Tanks here.
Ooh, Stray doing the rarely seen power bomb drop to kill some pirates to save some energy and collect some items. Nice job.
And CFB is going to head back up here. We might see these two players meet up at some point as CFB will head down first over here to check the major and then head up to check the early mock ball item.
Yeah, he'll also need to go kill some fire fleas in the next room. This room doesn't get opened too often, but he's going to need some power bombs, and they drop at like, what, 99.9 or something?
Yeah, if you don't get one, you get really bad luck.
And then now he doesn't need to collect anymore because he can just grab the frogs down here will drop power bombs.
So Stray grabbing another super, another pack of power bombs. Always nice to have 10 power bombs coming out here, especially when you don't have bombs yet.
Yeah, absolutely.
And see if he almost falling down there. I'm not sure if that was for show or not, but here's Stray with Charge Beam. Very nice. So these players will not have to look for all the miners, most likely.
They will not. One interesting thing, though, that we saw in a race maybe this weekend, I can't remember who it was, but we have seen a seed recently where Charge Beam was found, but no other beam was found.
Yeah.
And so just from my point of view, until I found, you know, either 2 more or like Plasma Beam or something, I would probably continue to collect almost every super missile I came across, just because late game, those are still very useful on Mother Brain if you don't have very good, strong beam combinations.
Yeah, for those of you who have not seen the low percent speed run, it's a lot of shots for Ridley and Mother Brain. It's 300 shots from the Charge Beam.
Yeah, and I've never done that, but I've done low ice, and that's 200. And I mean, good grief, it makes the fight, you know, just you have to focus for so long, and it's not exactly the most fun experience in the world. So I'm sure they're going to want to find more beams.
All right, so Stray now heading out, and both of these players getting the reverse mock ball out of here. Really nice. That is a tough trick to do.
So did both? I must have missed it. Are they just skipping the minor item that's in the ceiling?
I think so. I don't think either of them picked it up.
Okay, interesting. I guess it's a little easier to do that, also knowing that you got Charge Beam.
Yeah. All right, so Stray going for that same trick. He's gonna be rewarded with an E-Tank. And CFB will be getting grappled soon. Both these players also getting this high jumpless gate opening trick on the first try. So as we can see, a very high level of play here.
Yeah, well done. I like the play CFB just did of opening up the Torian missile door prior to the late game, so that's cool. Then they don't have to worry about it.
Always agree with doing that, because you don't want to waste that one super if you don't have to later on.
Exactly, especially if you happen to go down there with, only minor items or something. Not that you couldn't collect from the Metroids, but it's just you always want to be as safe as possible. I'm sure CFB is going to be disappointed here in a second, though.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think he's just going to walk right back out of this room. I don't think he's going to have any interest in this item. With 15 power bombs, though, he can go up and check Gauntlet if he wants. So we might see that.
Yeah, it seems like from my perspective, I would call this a good check because number one, we've already collected all the early game items before, heading up or down Red Tower, and nothing. I mean, Charge Beam's good, but no movement items have been found, I guess, other than grapple. So definitely something that you would probably want to check, because if you find one of those really important items, then you're going to have a big advantage. But look here, it's Stray.
Yep, so this is not an easy thing to do. I'm sure you've seen this before. A lot of other players have done this or tried to do this in the tournament. But he has grapple. Jeez, I always forget this.
Yeah, to be honest, the way he jumped into the room, I was like, oh, here we go. He's got to get the setup, but then I forgot that he had it too.
Yeah. Oh, man. I mean, it's really cool to see the other method, but I'm kind of bummed that he had grapple, and that's huge to get Speed Booster here.
Big. That's very, very big. Now we'll see here in just a second what CFB is going to collect at the Gauntlet spot. Gauntlet is very interesting. If you get one of those really important items, you can't obviously get a suit, but if you get, space jump or high jump boots or something that's really going to add a lot of value to your overall speed, it can be a huge advantage. But if you don't find anything, it's a bit of a time sink. We've seen actually some players lose matches in this tournament simply by checking the spot.
Yep, and it's just an E-Tank, which CFB does not need at this point. He already has 4. So he will reset, and unfortunately, Speed Booster is down at X-Rays, so the choice to go over to Wreck Ship is a really questionable one.
Is this the part where it'd be more interesting if you and I forgot that CFB had grapple and we assume that he has to do a CWJ?
Yeah, that would be more interesting. Of course, his setup's all wrong, so.
Oh, he missed the CWJ already. Oh, look, he has grapple.
Yeah, it would have been interesting. I kind of doubt he would have done this if he had to actually do CWJ here. I might be wrong. I don't know what CFB's intentions are. And unfortunately, he falls down here. He's going to have to get back out of this this ocean here.
Yeah, you know, I always find the CWJ thing really fascinating because, for example, you know, I technically know how to do it, but I'm not very good at it. And the only category I've ran that I even used it in was low ice. But a lot of these guys that we're seeing, you know, in the late stages of this tournament are very familiar with new route, any percent. And so sometimes I wonder if for them it's not even a big deal at all to attempt to go to wreck ship without one of the movement items. But for me personally, I typically don't even attempt it until I find something that will make it easier for me.
Oh yeah, completely the same with me. I would not attempt it myself. And CFB finally getting over that ocean, while Stray is coming up to Kraid here, and Stray will be checking 2 items within warehouse. So we'll see what other goodies are in here.
Yeah, he finally made his way over and headed to Phantoon, and then Stray obviously probably going to make super quick work of Kraid here. And he'll be rewarded with 2 separate items before he heads out of Kraid's lair.
All right, so he gets a quick kill. No issue there. As CFB rolls up to Phantoon.
Ooh.
And
that charge beam's even more powerful now.
Yeah, that plasma beam pickup's huge, so no reason to pick up any miners really, except to just fill the quota for Turian, I would say.
Exactly. Stray in a very nice spot with items. I mean, you know, in terms of required items, he doesn't have any of the suits yet, but you know, you either have to have speed or ice to get through Meridia, and so he's got at least one of those. He can speed Zeb Skip if he never finds ice, and he's got charged plasma, so he's in a nice starting position.
Yeah, really nice. So I'm guessing that he'll go down in the business center unless he wants to take a chance.
Oh baby.
And high jump boots, which is even better because he just picked up speed. He doesn't have to deal with that nasty jump animation that you get with speed and no high jump. So yeah, that's really nice.
Yeah, let's keep it real. Speed was nice, plasma was nice, charge was nice, but high jump boots is really where it's at.
Alright, so CFB getting really close here to killing Phantoon. And finishes him off with that super right there. So, keep in mind that, well, Stray is actually going back here, so it looks like he's gonna go to wreck ship, huh?
I guess so. I don't necessarily, you know, I don't think that's a bad decision. Obviously, the pathing is going to take a little bit of extra time, but you know, this is a randomizer. He has no way of knowing what he's going to find. There are certain situations where this would be a much better call. Maybe he just wants to avoid potential hell running. Maybe he just wants to know for sure that Varia isn't up here before he decides to do some hell runs.
And this would be massive for Stray if Varia happens to be the item that is above bowling, because CFB would have to backtrack to come back down here and get it. Even though speed is just at X-ray, which isn't too far away, it's still some significant backtracking.
True.
And picking up Spazer, which he will not need later, because obviously he'll be going to Kraid. So a fairly useless item that when Stray sees, he'll just pretty much run away from it.
Yeah, for sure. That'll save a few seconds.
All right, so CFB is going to do the old save trick here, where he saves here and checks the wreck ship E-tank location. And if it's garbage, he'll just reset and start from this location again. In the meantime, Stray doing a spark over ocean to get to the wreck ship.
Yeah, you know, you never know what's going to happen. A lot of times the conversations that we have, we're just kind of imagining what the items could be. But like, first of all, let's look at what CFB is being forced to attempt to do here. When Stray gets to this position, he's going to have absolutely zero problem like immediately just jumping up there because of high jump boots and the speed booster that he has anyway. So
And there he goes. He got it.
some time. Yeah, he got it, but still going to lose some time there. But like, the main thing here is if, we'll find out in a minute, if there is a really powerful item, in particular a suit behind Wreck Ship Reserve, like barring some completely catastrophic event by Stray's going to have a commanding lead.
Yeah.
Just from being able to get it.
Oh, and see if he does fall down there. Should be able to get up here pretty quickly, but yeah, these small time losses will add up a bit.
Yeah, not to mention the fact, like, the whole high jump boots thing is basically kind of like, high jump boots is a very, very good item in terms of making things easier and making you go faster, be more comfortable. But the main advantage that you'll get when you have it is how long you have it versus your opponent. And we've seen a lot of races where, if somebody has high jump boots for a solid 10 minutes while the other person doesn't, that's a lot of time that they're going to have to make up because they're moving faster through every single room.
Yeah, and you can see the movement through places like Lower Norfair where you have to do all these additional wall jumps to get through areas, and it just can be awkward altogether to get through rooms like the Firefly, that whole Firefly column room or whatever you want to call it. That's really tough without high jumping with only speed booster.
Agreed. Looks like we got an enraged Phantoon.
All right, so CFB will be checking the status of this item here. Obviously, he will not be able to get it.
Once again, even this right here is taking, even just a few seconds, but it's a little bit more time than Stray will have to use. Oh, yeah. Thank goodness.
Yeah, so that's the third reserve tank we've seen so far. So at least we've gotten 3 of those out of the way, and at least CFB doesn't have to come back to get this item.
Yeah, I absolutely hate seeing when runners get there and they can't get it, and it's a really good item. So I'm glad the CFB won't have to deal with that.
But yeah, so far, Wreck Ship has not been too kind, to say the least. But we still do have the gravity item.
True, it hasn't been kind at all, and it's pretty much a guarantee that Stray, unless something really weird happens, it's pretty much guaranteed that he will get through all the item checks faster than CFB did just because of the items he came in with. So, overall, probably a net negative for CFB here.
Yeah, so Stray is going to check this item over here. Obviously, it's going to be Spazer. He's not going to pick it up. CFB, after he gets this item, we'll have to see what it is, but I'm pretty sure he's going to go down and check X-Ray after all this.
Oh, we got the Spazer pick up.
Stray picks it up by mistake. An unfortunate turn of events, and he will have to turn that off. And there it is, gravity. So this is not the absolutely horrible wreck ship that we were thinking it would be. Gravity is indeed a heck of a pickup. Vanilla gravity.
It is. Unfortunately for CFB, it's not just about like I always like to look at these things. They're not typical speed runs, right? Yes, you're trying to go as fast as you can, but you're not necessarily trying to PB. You're having to play against an opponent and what your opponent is doing. Unfortunately for CFB, finding gravity is not going to be that big of an advantage. Actually, it's not even an advantage at all, simply because Stray is going to find it as well, unless he somehow decides to leave early, but we would assume he probably wouldn't, given that he has speed booster. So unfortunately for him, he doesn't know this, but it's not going to gain him a ton of time because Stray's going to be right behind him with it.
Yeah, agreed. So I'm hoping that, I don't know what he's going to do exactly. Obviously, I'm hoping he goes to X-Ray. I don't see why he would not. But I don't know if he'll just try to go to Meridia immediately or if he'll go kill Kraid.
Well, I guess, I think spots like this, it gets really interesting because you have to start asking yourself a lot of questions. A lot of people when they're running these randos, they're only thinking about themselves, not thinking about what their opponent could be doing. And if CFB feels like he is legitimately behind, like that Stray, obviously went down and found some better items first, it seems like kind of a worse, riskier play to go straight to Meridia, but it could actually pay dividends if Varia is in there somewhere. Because most people are probably going to try to find Varia, potentially in Norfair, so they can go straight down to lower Norfair or something like that. If he took a risky play and found Varia somewhere in Meridia, that might actually catch him up if Stray went to Norfair. So sometimes, like, the mathematical incorrect choice in a vacuum can actually be the correct choice in a particular race.
Yeah, I mean, the big thing is you have to go to Kraid anyway. If you do end up going to Kraid later after you are in go mode, the only thing you're really saving is, that check after Kraid, of course, and that last item before exit to warehouse. So either way, it's not a huge time loss to do it early if it happens to be, a bunch of useless items.
Yeah, that's a great point.
All right, so CFE is actually going back up to check waterway, it looks like. And if this holds Varia, this could be huge.
Yeah, if this ends up being Varia and Stray either forgets to check or opts not to, then the shoe would be on the other foot, right? It'd be a complete massive advantage towards CFB. Because Varia, as we know, is the best item in these randomizers. So
he gets that gate glitch second try, very nice. While Stray gets to take a quick break here.
Yeah, Stray going bowling. We also very rarely get to see the intended way to get to this item. Most of the time, the players don't have gravity when they get here in these randos, so this is pretty fast.
And it's just bombs. Not anything too big. I mean, we'll save him time in certain areas because he doesn't have spring ball, so he has to use power bombs for jumps. But I mean, it's a useful pickup, but it's also a pretty big out-of-the-way pickup.
I agree. Bombs are never bad, obviously, but at the same time, their value has been, kind of marginalized by the fact that they found 15 power bombs so early and basically just don't really have to worry about soft locking anywhere. So, but, you do get infinite bomb jumps, which right now would be their only way through certain rooms, again, you can sit here and make up scenarios all day. If they found Varia next and then went straight to lower Norfair, there are certain rooms that they wouldn't be able to get out of or get through without bombs or something like that. So,
right.
Not terrible, but obviously not a super powerful pickup at the moment.
All right, so CFB, I think you need to check the spatial location here. Yep, he did not go over here yet. And I think it was just an E-tank or a reserve or something like that. Can't remember.
Straight out going to waterway, I'm not overly surprised. I guess technically he could be forgetting, but a lot of times people don't want to sink in the amount of time that it takes to go all the way back over there. So he'll be without bombs, but I would say probably from here to the end, that's probably a pretty big gain considering that bombs are not, one of the more elite items.
All right, so Stray heading up to Meridia as CFB passes right in front of Stray and goes to Kraid. So we already know what's at Kraid over here, but we're about to find out what's at Mama Turtle.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what all items Stray decides to check. I would assume he'll probably check Mama Turtle and then just Botwoon and Dragon. And then if he doesn't have Varia by that point, I don't know if he'll go to Norfair, if he'll continue to check Meridia. Meridia has a lot of places in it that are very expensive to check. That's kind of one of the main reasons that the best path in the game is essentially, Kraid, Ridley, Dragon, and then Phantoon. It's not just for the pathing; it's also for the item check locations. If you can have go mode before you go to Meridia, then it's nice to not have to check those expensive places. And then if you're already in go mode by the time you get up to wreck ship, you also don't have to check the expensive places. So going to be interesting to see how he balances what he's looking for versus how much time he's willing to put into it.
Yeah, and that can kind of be a double-edged sword because Meridia has some expensive checks, but you can also go through all of Upper Norfair and then finally go to the grapple item, the vanilla grapple location after Croc and possibly get Varia. So that would be a huge time waste as well.
Exactly.
This is pretty tough here. The runners just kind of have to make a decision as to what they want to do.
And see, the funny thing is like everybody is operating on incomplete information. The runners are clearly, but even we as commentators and as viewers, like we don't actually know what they're thinking. A lot of players will have a specific game plan for a specific opponent. Like they might play differently versus one opponent than another. So we have no idea what they're thinking. But I don't think that's going to make chat very happy, Typo.
Yeah, but I mean, getting Spring Ball there and then going all the way back around, I don't think Stray was planning on doing that.
Yeah, I don't blame him, especially already having high jump boots and speed booster. There are less places where the extra uses of Spring Ball would be a huge benefit, so I can understand why he would decide not to grab it in that location.
Yeah, it would be nice to have. He does not have bombs yet, but it's just the time that it takes to go all the way back around and back into Meridia.
Yeah.
All right, so we are seeing a high jump check here, and that is space jump, so that is a nice pickup.
You know what's funny? I think the scenario I described earlier is potentially about to happen in the complete reverse. It could be that Stray decided to go to Meridia and taking, in some ways, the more expensive, risky play, even though he was ahead, could actually cost him. If CFB finds Varia in either ice or maybe if he elects, I guess he already checked ice, but no, he's not going to continue to do hell runs. Looks like he's going to go to Meridia instead.
All right, so yeah, we won't know what's at Croc or what's in the rightmost part of Upper Norfair. We'll just have to take guesses on that, and hopefully one of these runners finds Varia somewhere within here.
Yeah, ironically, CFB, given, I mean, he doesn't know this, but given where Stray is, it actually would be to his advantage to check Norfair, because if he got lucky and Varia was down there, he'd be avoiding a lot of backtracking that Stray's going to have to do.
Yeah.
But he doesn't know, so now they're on the same path, which puts Stray back in the lead.
Right, so Stray has a lot of options for Dragon here. He can do the usual Shine Spark stuff. He does have Plasma Charge, but he doesn't have X-Ray. And he also has Grapple, so an array of options here. CFB grabbing that E-Tank, putting him at 5, so he's pretty comfortable now.
Yeah, and now Stray getting ready, I would assume, to do pretty typical speed booster strats here. I love how he crouched there for a moment as if he was getting an X Factor ready to go. Probably the timing is so ingrained.
This looks like it could be pretty good. Oh, man, okay.
He's clearly more incentivized to get this last spark and try to get a blue suit since he does not have space jump.
Yeah, indeed.
Very
and he
nice.
just needs that little bit more damage there, and that's what he got. So he does have blue suit to get out of here, and we'll see what's behind this door.
Of course, I guess the flip side, there's probably something I'm missing. I'm sure there's a way to do it, but you can't hold dash. He didn't get the spike suit. So if this isn't, well, obviously it's not going to be space jump because CFB already found it, screw attack. But how is he going to get out of here with the blue suit?
So he could do a gravity jump.
Yeah, I guess when he presses down, he'll just have to wait a few seconds for the thing. Or no, he'll just run regular. I see.
Yeah.
a lot of times I'm thinking about it in the low ice where you don't have high jump boots. I forgot that you can get up there a lot faster. I don't think it's possible to make it up there without high jump boots, without crouch jumping.
All right, so Stray's gonna go for the reverse halfie here. And CFB coming up to Batoon. So unfortunately, we have not seen Varia yet. Stray is not checking plasma. He's going to opt out.
Well, looks like is this our first race of the entire tournament where both players proactively skipped spring ball?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Well, now they're in the position that we were discussing earlier, which is, you know, there's all these expensive checks in Meridia. Which ones are you going to be willing to check before you go check Norfair? Because, you know, if Varia is in one of those expensive places, well, it'd be obviously worth it and you'd be good to go. But now, if it's not there and you spend all that time, it's going to be bad news. So looks like Stray is just going to head down and start the process of doing the hell runs.
Yeah, nice full halfie by CFB there.
Yeah, very well done.
Yeah, so Stray yesterday got burned by checking both Plasma and Shack Tool, which cost him a significant amount of time. So that may have influenced his decision here to avoid checking either of those spots and just going for Upper Norfair here.
It's really interesting how many times CFB has been technically given an opportunity to make a risky play to catch up because, you know, at this point, he's clearly behind. But if for some reason, you know, if Varia is in one of these kind of crazy locations, also shout outs to CFB for the plasma special beam attack, which we very rarely see.
Yeah, very cool.
If for some reason Varia is in one of those hard to reach places in Meridia and he just decides to risk it for the biscuit, so to speak, and look for it before leaving and finds it, that could actually catch him up because he could skip all of the Norfair items.
All right, so he takes down Dragon here, and yeah, I think CFB is going to check Plasma. Just, I don't know. I just have a feeling.
Oh, Stray getting annoyed by that gamer. I think we've all been there before.
All right, so Stray going over to the ice location now. I don't think CFB has checked the ice location. He only went to high jump. Is that correct?
I think that he did check it because when
he did.
I don't remember what item it was, but when he passed by it to go up the elevator the second time, it wasn't a green door anymore. So I assume that he opened it and went in there.
All right, I totally missed it then. Yeah, and it's just an E-tank.
Gotcha.
And here we go. He's going to be checking Plasma, so if this is something, this will be huge for CFB. Of course, that something being the only thing that they really, really want right now. That's Varia. Would be nice to find ice somewhere, but, you know, obviously not a requirement.
Once again, man, if this ends up being Varia, like, how wild is it that after all of these different scenarios that CFB could be potentially back in the lead, like, this would be a completely game-changing item location.
Oh, yeah.
That's what makes these things so fun, though. If it was just a straight-up regular race, you know, there's not a whole lot of drama in that.
All right, so Stray heading down to Crocomire. We will see at least one item check here. Once he gets Varia, he's going to be on his way. So that is just an E-tank for CFB.
Too bad.
Unfortunately, he does not gain the time that he wants here, and he will have to head down into Norfair with Stray.
So the only item left is Shack Tool, right, in Meridia?
Yep. So he could do that. He does have grapple. It's easy to get, and there's the fourth reserve tank for Stray there. Probably kind of annoyed to see that.
Dude, I think he might do it.
We will see in about 5 seconds, I think. And he is.
Baby. Okay.
All right, so CFB making the gamble that Stray made last time, and this did not pay off for Stray last time. It's actually what caused his loss versus the first game versus CFB. So we'll see if this benefits CFB here. If it does, number one, that's a very trolly location for Varia, as you all know. And number two, Stray will have to do a lot of backtracking.
Incredibly risky play, but at the same time, you know, if he truly believes that he is significantly far behind, and we all know that he is, this is actually the best possible play. Because number one, if it's Varia, you have managed to put yourself back into a position where you might actually, like, this might be literally the last item that Stray chooses to check. And then if it's not Varia, you probably weren't going to catch up anyway. So it seems like a win-win to me.
And another big thing is Plasma was in a very, easy to get location. So it's not like CFP can say to himself, well, I have Plasma and Stray didn't get it. No, of course Stray got it. It was right after Kraid. So the advantages here, like you said, it's worth CFB taking the risk.
All right, let's see. Oh my God, dude.
Oh, man. Well, I honestly have not seen Varia at Shack Tool in a while. And that's very unfortunate for Stray.
Oh my God, that's all I can say about this. Wow. I mean, okay, and let's be serious for a minute. I honestly believe, like, CFB was significantly behind earlier. Like, significantly behind.
Yeah, but now he's in go mode.
He's probably, like, not only has he caught up, he's probably now as ahead as he was behind earlier. Like, he's in such a commanding position right now. Stray will literally check every single item in Bubble Mountain before going back. He'll probably, my assumption would be, check Plasma before Shack Tool. It will literally be the last thing he finds. He might even, for all we know, I mean, I doubt it, but you never know. He could go check Waterway.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking he's going to check Waterway before he goes back to Shack Tool, but who knows? I'm really not sure.
And CFB already has 15 power bombs. He doesn't have to have ice. He doesn't have to check anything in Norfair other than the 2 items he already checked. I mean, he's just going to go straight down to lower Norfair and knock this thing out.
Yeah, this is pretty massive for CFB.
Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, behold the power of Rando.
Yeah, everyone probably realizes at this point that it doesn't matter how good you are at this. If one player gets the luck of the draw in, the risk that they take, they're going to have a huge advantage.
Yep. And once again, I just want to say, like, we don't know what the runners are thinking. I've seen plenty of people say things about, like what I was thinking when I actually had never crossed my mind or something. But, like, I have a feeling that the move that he made was because he felt like he was behind and thought that this was probably his best option for catching up. And that is an incredibly intelligent play. So props to him. That, or he just got, he just was there and decided to do it. But I feel like that was a really calculated risk.
Yeah, agreed. All right, so Stray, checking a few more items here. I guess we'll get some insight on maybe where Ice and Wave are. We already have seen Spring Ball, we've seen Bombs, so not much left on the list of items to check off. Meanwhile, CFB, with all these items, it's going to make Lower Norfair very easy, especially with Screw Attack. You can just move through everything.
Yeah, Screw Attack is... it's really interesting in these randomizers. A lot of times if I'm done with Lower Norfair and I find it later, I just have no incentive to pick it up. If you think about the way the vanilla game was made, it's pretty clear that the developers, custom designed it for Lower Norfair. I mean, it's in Lower Norfair and it just makes everything so much easier. And there's really not even that many opportunities to kill enemies with Screw Attack after Lower Norfair, so it's pretty much going to be a cakewalk for him.
Yeah. The only other place that I like having screw attack are for the big hoppers, you know, especially in a room like the big pink gate room. That's a really nice place to have it.
Yeah, it's a great point.
All right, so Stray on his way up to the top of Business Center now. We'll see if he decides to go straight back to Meridia or if he goes to check Waterway first. While CFB doesn't really need to check anything else. So he may just check after Ridley to see if it's ice, you know, because ice will make things a little bit faster. But he might not check anything at all. He basically just needs to kill Ridley and go to turn in. And looks like Stray is opting out of Waterway for the time being. He will go check Shack Tool first.
Is he checking Shack first, or do you think he's gonna head up to Plasma?
That's right, he could go to Plasma first. Oh, and he goes to Plasma first. Okay, all right.
I think that's the play most people would probably make, just because like Shack is so expensive, and I don't blame him. Unfortunately, we know that this is just going to be wasted time.
All right, so no farming needed here. His energy is really good. And with Charge and Plasma, it will be a simple fight.
Oh yeah, without question. It'll take a little bit longer than normal. Probably you might even see him use some of the supers that he has, since they do double damage, but with double suit protection, not going to be too much of an issue here.
Yeah, the only thing I sometimes screw up if I only have Charge and Plasma is some of these hero shots, because you're so used to having a wider beam.
Yeah, I was just thinking that. Alright, I guess we're about to see Stray head on over to the old Botman, or excuse me, Shack Tool. And I wonder what he's gonna feel like when he finds it.
Man, I hope he doesn't curse me too badly, because unfortunately I've been I'm one of the organizers of the tournament. I've been making a lot of seeds for these runners, and some of Stray's seeds have been pretty unfortunate, and he's probably gonna hate me for this one as well.
Wait, are you saying you planned this one out?
I did not plan it.
So CFB checking here, I would assume he could have technically picked up an E-Tank if he wanted to grab another one or two before getting to Mother Brain for stand-up, but my assumption would be he's going to check the items for ice or wave on his way. Clearly, he's not going to have trouble with the items that he has, but at the same time, having ice would make Torian a lot faster, and having wave would also make it faster on Mother Brain.
So CFB heading out of Lower Norfair now. Yeah, like I said before, doesn't have much to do. All these rooms are pretty simple. Stray coming up to this horrible, horrible item. And yeah.
Oh boy.
That feeling when Shack Tool burnt you in game 1 and you lost, and then you shunned him in game 3, and he comes back and says, you know what, I'm gonna have Varia this time.
I think he just showed Shack Tool what he thinks about him. Oh, that was the fastest Shack Tool death I've ever seen.
And CFB picking up ice there, nice pickup. So checking the Firefly tank there was worth it.
Yeah, that's literally like the most important item he had left to find. So CFB just, I mean, honestly, just kind of cruising at this point. And just for emphasis, I mean, I want to remind everybody, like, Stray was pretty significantly ahead in terms of if both of them had stayed on the same path. That Varia at Shack Tool was literally the only thing that could have gotten CFB back in this, and now CFB is just like massively ahead, like multiple minutes ahead, just because it took Stray that long to check all those items. CFB doesn't have to check a single other thing in the game.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, it is a bummer, but it's also basically what randos are. Every once in a while, you'll get some really nice randos where the items are situated almost perfectly, and you might get a few in a row, and you might start, feeling like, hey, luck is on my side. I'm constantly getting 50s and everything's in the right place, and then suddenly you get one that's just items where you just don't want them to be, and that's just the sad fate of rando, I guess.
Yeah, that's kind of the nature of the beast, as they say. It's kind of like the ultimate Hail Mary, it's kind of like, in a lot of cases, the worst player in a rando matchup, if it was just a regular race, their likelihood of winning would be incredibly low, right? Because there's not much variance in a race in terms of like 80% or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
But here, you can purposely, if you know in advance, like the guy that I'm playing against is a lot better than me, so I'm going to play a really risky route, which I'm not necessarily saying CFB did that, but I'm just saying that anybody could. Like the variance in these things really helps runners in a disadvantageous position, so that definitely helps CFB here.
Yeah, and I mean, if it's just an 80% tournament, the other thing is it's something that you've practiced again and again that you pretty much know by heart. It's muscle memory. You don't really need to do too many things that are different. Obviously, there's boss RNG, and if you have low health in certain areas, you do need to take safety strats or take risks. But with rando, it's a lot of on-the-fly thinking, and if you're fast with that kind of stuff, if you're good with it, you're going to have an advantage there.
Absolutely. This tournament is a really cool way of showing that there are multiple types of skills in this game, and this randomizer definitely tests people in a different way. I think Stray forgot he had screw attack there for a minute. He was charge shotting some of the key hunters.
Honestly, I don't blame him. With the distraction of Varia being at Shack Tool on the back of his mind, I would be forgetting all sorts of stuff too. I would just be cursing Shack Tool this entire time.
Well, you just go muscle memory all the time, right?
Yeah. All right, so CFB now in Meridia. Sorry, Meridia. It's now in Turian. He does have Iced, which he picked up at the Fire Fleet tank. So these rooms should be pretty quick.
Well, one thing to point out is that CFB only has 15 regular missiles max and 15 super missiles max, which is a perfectly acceptable amount. But you got to make sure that when you get to Mother Brain 1 that you have enough supers. And I'm sure he'll be fine. I'm just saying that there are very unlikely scenarios where the Metroids don't give off great drops, but it looks like he's going to use regular missiles and on most of them and be fine.
As long as you take those precautions to use regular missiles, the drop should benefit you unless you just get really bad luck.
Yeah. Which we have seen before.
1511 is fine. I wouldn't completely feel comfortable with it, but we'll see what he gets in this room. Yeah, he's all set, so that's good.
So, Quickie was asking why he turned off Plasma, which my assumption would be that he just knows that it's easier to get the Zeb skip without Plasma. You can use Plasma to get the Zeb skip, but you have to charge your shot first. And, with regular Ice Beam, you just have to stand underneath it and shoot up. So that's probably the reason that he just felt more comfortable.
All right, so CFB just taking damage here. so he'll get grabbed by the baby Metroid. Stray finishing off Ridley. He did have the advantage of Wave Beam, giving him a bit more range on the beam and also a bit more damage.
Oh, so Lower Norfair had Wave and Ice, huh?
Wave was actually at Wave.
I'm sorry.
Stray was in Upper Norfair. So
see.
another vanilla item location here. We've seen a few of those.
Yeah, so he won't, assuming that he finishes, he won't have to turn Plasma off to feel more comfortable. Wave makes the Zeb skip really easy. So yeah, CFB now has absolutely plenty of minor items here to trigger Mother Brain into her next phase. So he'll do a very nice Zeb skip here and then knock this out, and I would assume that he will go back to his re-equipping Plasma and finishing up Mother Brain 2.
Stray also grabbing Ice Beam, so I think he's glad to see that despite the turn of events beforehand.
So literally at this point, I think the only conceivable way for CFB to somehow not win this match would be if he were to go for stand-up and get soft lock somehow. So, but I guess he can't even go for it because he didn't have the E-Tank, so never mind. So he should be in good position here, assuming he doesn't get like some weird catch-ups or something.
Yeah, I think the other big thing Stray probably would have wanted to see is bombs somewhere, but unfortunately that's at Waterway, so he will not have those. But bombs are always nice for grouping in turn.
That is a great point.
All right, so CFB going into the cutscene now has 2 more things to do: Mother Brain 3 and Escape, and he will be done. So unless he gets a console reset, I think he's good to go.
So I guess do we need to know, does CFB have a cat?
I don't know. That's a good question. If he has any kind of pet, a cat, dog, I don't know, whatever other pet could be roaming around, maybe a ferret or something like that. I would be worried.
I haven't seen anybody lose to it with a dog reset yet, but I have seen cat reset multiple times, at least once in this tournament, but I've seen it in other places. So outside of that, or an unfortunate loss of power, which we actually did see happen to Ponk recently, which was obviously very unfortunate, those are probably the only scenarios that would prevent CFB from winning this outright here in just another minute and a half or so. I guess maybe 2 minutes.
But very, very respectable time for having to check both Plasma and Shack Tool. Looks like he will be finishing in about, I don't know, what would you say, a 57 or so?
Yeah, I would say he's probably going to finish this at, my guess would be low 56.
Low 56, okay.
But then again, I mean, I don't know. I can't quite remember how long it takes to do all these segments.
Oh yeah, he really doesn't have much left. 57 is definitely overshooting it.
Usually, I don't know, maybe a minute and 20 roughly from when the head hits. I don't know if that's 100% accurate. You would think that you'd be able to memorize these things after running the game hundreds of times, but sometimes I lose track.
There's so many things I forget. If I take a break from this game for like 2 or 3 weeks and I go back to it, a lot of things I do by muscle memory, and then suddenly I'll encounter something and just have to look it up or try to sit there and remember it for a bit.
Absolutely. CFB getting that swag 3 minutes there.
Yeah, so he looks like he should be good to get mid 55, which like I said, it's very, very nice time considering some of the things he had to check. And Stray coming up behind right now, very close to G4.
Yeah, I mean, this is a really, really nice time, given the fact, like, if somebody said, yeah, Varia is at Shack Tool, I would not have assumed at all that the ending time would be as fast as this. So CFB really had a nice performance for this seed.
Yeah.
It looks like I was way off. He's going to finish with a low 55. Nicely done.
All right, so CFB heading into the last room here, about to check in at the ship, and he finishes with an official SRL time of 55 minutes and 16 seconds. And immediately after that, Straevaras makes a decision to forfeit from the race. So
Yeah.
Game 3 was the decider, and the ultimate decider was, unfortunately, Varia at Shack Tool. A very painful way to go out because, I mean, no one wants to see that.
Absolutely not. Huge congratulations to CFB, who will now be moving into the final 12 players. And then obviously GG to Straevaras for putting on excellent races throughout the tournament. And I guess just congratulations to chat for getting to watch that enjoyable show. I mean, we've basically been waiting all tournament long to have a Shack Tool Varia seed to decide a winner, right? Well, we finally got it.
Yeah, definitely. It was definitely interesting. All 3 games from this series were very interesting. I enjoyed this match very much. So before we go, I would just like to quickly bring up the sheet to let you guys know when the next matches are coming up. Just give me a second here. So we will not see anything until the 13th, which I believe is Friday. Yep. So no games slotted for tomorrow or Thursday, but Friday we have matches between White Mage Becky and Wild Anaconda 69, and Elminster and Southern Kip. So be sure to check those out. Those will be starting at 8 p.m. Eastern time and going into the next morning at 2 a.m. So lots of matches coming up Friday and Saturday. Unfortunately, nothing before then, but I hope everyone enjoyed this, and I hope everyone enjoyed the commentary as well. Thank you so much for commentating with me, Kip.
Yeah, Typo, I enjoyed it, man. Thank you for having me, and always a pleasure, and thank you for all that you do for the entire tournament, man.
Yeah, no problem. Be sure to follow both runners, both amazing runners of this. Be sure to follow our tracker, Lenofis. Thank you so much for tracking. And it was a joy to commentate. Thanks everyone for watching. Thanks Feasel for the speed gaming stuff as usual. And we'll see you next mission.
All right. Good night, everybody.